though?
A manager
How much
got
does
fired.
it cost them for that popcorn?
That's true. The kernels are like
5
pennies.
cents.
Yeah.
But and that butter and the bag.
The butter in the bag, that's true. The bag, you know, that's
I bring my
not
own
good for the
bag. What if
environment.
I...
You bring your own bag? No, you don't. That
Just a
that
trash,
bag would
like
just
a
be
black
so
garbage bag.
butterlogged after all these visits.
Well, you can clean it out, get a new bag.
But would you? See,
Absolutely.
Like,
I mean,
is that
I'll
something
get a
you've
new
done
bag.
as the guy who brings his bag? Are you doing that? Because it's not. Because if you go to like 7-Eleven or I don't know any place that you can like buy like a refillable thing, you know, it's not like plastic. Like they give you a legitimate one.
That's
but
true.
you wouldn't want to reuse the popcorn bag. That'd be fucking messed up. Don't you think?
It's just greasy. Pull it out of your pocket.
And eventually, like the kernels, you know, they'd add up. It'd just be all
yeah.
of the unpopped kernels. You know, I don't know.
You could dump those out.
You
Yeah,
can pop them yourself.
pop them yourself.
Sell it. Make a profit.
Sell it back to the theater. Hey, did we buy these 12 kernels
Sell it
for
back to the...
0.001 cents?
Hey,
Oh.
Colonel is probably missing his kernels.
Colonel?
He's a legend.
Colonel.
He's not as much.
I don't go to
legend.
Cineplex often, so I was like the only time I like seen him.
You don't know Colonel? Come on now.
He's
He's almost as famous as John
John
Cott.
John Cott.
John Cott. I'm surprised John Cott wasn't like a cameo reference in this movie.
In this movie. Because there were so many cameos.
He should have been in there. He should have been the villain. It would have been. Actually, I couldn't see him as villain.
No.
Just pulls out a weapon, has popcorn bag, fucking just...
Aiming it at people.
That's great.
You guys ready to commence this podcast?
That was a good opening segment.
Yeah.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
No, I usually include that, fun jibber jabber.
This was really fun.
Well, what we do now, actually, on the Marvel retrospective, we have like a post-credit scene in honor
Ooh.
of Marvel movies. So we always have like some random conversation. Usually it's Taylor saying something really strange,
But I was
and then
going
we comment on it, and then the conversation starts, and then that ends up being the post-credit scene, and that's
Nice.
fun. It's good time.
I like it.
It is fun.
Hello and welcome to the 170, maybe 80th.
I think it's 70-ish.
I have no
yeah.
idea what episode number this is. I think it is in the 170s.
Yeah.
170th-ish episode of the Geekverse podcast. I'm... Ooh. I never didn't think
I had a name yesterday.
I'm
and I
player
forgot
3, Dylan Moose.
Ooh,
Player 3.
That's a good
okay.
one.
I'm the Gunter, Jessica.
Gunter, nice.
I am the silent one. Kirkland Patzer.
Kirklin Patzer.
I wasn't going to say my name to remain silent, but I figured
Right.
they
Well,
could.
it's like that one time you said I'm the guy who shall not be named or something, but then you just said your name again.
The old Zap Brannigan.
Yeah, the old Zap Brannigan. Well, this should be a fun cast because I think, this is definitely the first time that this combination of 3 people.
This is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it should be good. We're doing a Ready Player One review. We just got out of the movie yesterday. And,
Still fresh in our minds.
It's a little
Still fresh in
insider
mind.
tip, yeah.
yeah.
Just get the Spark Notes just to refresh her
Yeah.
mind.
Jessica has read the book, so we have we have a multitude of perspectives on this one.
That is true. I'm glad
But,
we have someone that read the book in here. with
Yeah.
us.
Well, it's a short book, right?
Very short, yeah. You
Like
could-
100 pages, 200 pages?
maybe not that. I don't know exactly, but
Hmm.
I read it in like 2 days. But I also it was
It's
the
like
summer.
a 2-monther for me.
Mm.
Yeah, it was like summer. I sat on my balcony and read it.
Cool.
Might be more than 2 days for the normal person. Yes.
Okay.
Well, as our Geekverse reviews, we like to do a little spoiler-free section first, just our
Yes.
overall thoughts. Who wants to start?
I guess I'll take it away.
Kirkland?
I overall, all in all, obviously we'll go depth
Mm-hmm.
in a few minutes.
In a few minutes.
And in a few ticks. But that's a shout out to Voltron. All those that don't watch that show, it's amazing. Check
Easter
it
egg?
out. Netflix original.
A few ticks.
It's not really an
Few
Easter
ticks.
egg if you explain it.
Yes, I'm sorry. Can we take that out?
Yeah, that it is. It's gone.
No, overall, I actually really enjoyed this movie. And I'm kind of surprised, honestly, because going into it, I'm not saying, like, I love Steven Spielberg. I love what he does. He's a great director. He does great work.
He's got quite the resume.
So, like, the bar wasn't too low because of him, and it wasn't too high because of just, like, the whole, I don't know, there's, like, that, what's the word? Kind of like
A stigma.
a stigma around video game movies and stuff.
Right.
They're not the most successful. They're not the most
well,
popular.
this one's a bit different, right? Because it's like video game movies, but usually when we say that, we're referring to like movies that are based off of the story of a video game. But this is just based off of a book, but has video games in it.
That's true. It's a lot of pop culture, so it's not all about video games.
Right,
like a lot of music references.
But it is a lot of older
That's
kind
true.
of references, though,
that is
too.
true, yeah.
So.
Very true.
But I mean, the plot as well is, based around like a video game itself.
Yeah, that is true.
So yeah, it's like pseudo in the.
It is a very pseudo. Yeah, that's a perfect word to use it. But all in all, I thought it was a great movie. I don't know. There's a lot of things I want to say that are kind of spoiler, but this is actually a movie that I'd like honestly recommend to my parents, like even watching, because like they grew up in the '80s era, so there's a lot of '80s references I found, because a lot of it is like the origin of video gaming and like when did that start? '80s, right? Mid to late '80s, or maybe even earlier. I don't know. I wasn't born then, but no, and like just like there was like scenes in it that just pop culture references I feel like a lot of people would enjoy and appreciate, and I feel like they hit that home like pretty well. There wasn't a lot of things that they used that I was like, oh, that was kind of overdone, or like...
Right. Well, I mean, there's references to, music and bands and stuff, movies, and, video games as well. So I feel like no matter what, someone's going to at least have a couple references that at least speak to them.
Oh, definitely. All in all, though, I just found it like a fun, enjoyable... Like, it was a very long movie, 2 hours and 18 minutes, I think, but like, there wasn't a point where I was like, oh man, that's kind of... Like, what time is it, Like, I just, I felt like it was a good length for...
The pacing was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good pacing as well. And but yeah, no, all in all, I found it really enjoyable. It was a fun movie to go to. I wasn't bored really like watching it.
Well, that's actually exactly how I feel, is that it was a longer movie, and I think pacing wise, in terms of like some story stuff and like character motivations, I think it kind of struggled. Like things happened too fast. But the pacing of it, in terms of keeping my enjoyment, I was there the whole time, and I was interested, and I was like keeping into the story. I think there's a couple things I missed just because there was a lot of information to take in, and I think I missed a couple story things. So I have a couple questions for you, Jessica.
Yeah, we were talking about that a lot. Like how you said, like the characters kind of jumped. There wasn't that much progression on them, or like certain ones. But I feel like the book would really cover that, and it'd like complete that whole
I think I can see, like, just from watching the movie, like where things were like cut from the book, or where having more time with a book really could like flesh out a certain storyline. But overall, like I really enjoyed it as well. I think the CGI really stood out for me as like never really, like, obviously there's a lot of it and it's really intense, and like the camera's moving back and forth, 3D, a lot of stimulus, 3D. But 3D. Yeah. But I mean, I've never been one to like get headaches from watching 3D movies and stuff, and I thought like particularly the CGI between like the main cast was really good. Like sometimes I forgot that I was like watching like animated characters.
The close-ups of their faces. Like I felt like it was an actor, honestly.
Well, even the ones where they had the CGI and like humans, like it wasn't like Warcraft where you're like, holy shit, this is bad. It was actually like really well blended.
It's because they did the shift, right, where it was like all CGI, where it was just all live action for the most part. Yeah,
the couple scenes that they were together, though, even then I was still like the stuff that I won't mention because it's
the spoilers. And then I think some characters for me didn't quite do it. Particularly the villain, I thought was incredibly weak.
I didn't like the villain.
But there was some characters that I had a lot of fun with, and one in particular, Halliday, really stood out for me as being like really interesting. And the whole time I was curious to find out more about his story. And he was kind of brought up at the start of the movie, and it kind of felt like they were kind of just going to move on from that. But then I was excited to see that they kept pushing his story forward and kept answering questions about him, and I found that story really interesting in particular. Music, I don't know, it was alright. It was kind of all like really generic sort of pop music. It was fine.
But I think that's kind of what they were going for.
Definitely, right? Like I think this movie was intended to be, obviously it's kind of intended for audiences younger than ourselves, is kind of what I felt. And so, I don't know, there's aspects of it that I didn't really like a whole lot from that perspective, but in terms of like the story and stuff, I for the most part thought it was pretty good. I think this movie has a lot of little problems, and that's why I'm mostly positive on it, because even though it does have little problems, they are so small that
it doesn't kill the movie.
Yeah, exactly. None of them really stand out as being too glaringly bad. I think spoiler territory, I don't know, I have a lot more to say, but overall I enjoyed it. I think I would recommend it to anyone who's into the geek culture.
Yeah.
You know, I think there will be a lot of stuff here to see, and I'm really curious to see when this movie is, you know, people have access to it at
broken
home,
down,
and they're pausing it frame by frame, because I went online after and was like looking up some other like references and stuff and like cameos, and there's a lot of stuff that I missed apparently. So I'm super excited to see, you know.
Yeah, as soon as we walked out of the theater, I I'm gonna go to this again in theaters. Like 2D, I'm gonna go.
Definitely 2D. Yeah.
3D was, you know, it was fairly well done with what they did, but it's just you have to look so straight ahead or else it gets kind of blurry.
Yeah.
So you're really unable to focus on your peripherals. So
totally,
that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially because like a lot of the scenes where you're gonna miss some things are like really quick cuts too, right?
Yeah.
So if you just don't really have time to like look all around. So that's why multiple watches definitely beneficial. So what are your overalls, Jessica, as the perspective of someone who's read the book?
Mm-hmm.
So I read the book. It was quite a while ago. It was probably like 6 months or a year before this movie was even announced.
Okay.
So it's been a good minute. But I remembered kind of the general outline of what was happening.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason I liked it so much is because I wasn't necessarily comparing it to the book because I didn't remember all the exact details, but I knew enough of the storyline to kind of understand where things were and what was going on.
Okay.
So I thoroughly enjoyed it. I plan on seeing it again in theaters. I definitely absolutely loved it. You know, I'll say this, it's not super spoilery. If you did read the book recently, you'll probably be disappointed. It is quite a bit different, but
it's pretty usual. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get into that more though. So overall, I recommend it.
Cool.
Yeah. Overall, I recommend it in 2D. I feel because
yeah,
like my overall like feeling when we first started, because the opening scene. I don't know if we're talking about spoilers anymore. I guess not really spoilers. Just the opening, like he's talking about the Oasis and kind of zooming all around, and there's a lot of stuff.
It's very fast.
It's very fast, and like I found a lot of like just like I don't know if it's just my eyes, but like I just felt like the screen was tearing, and like I just couldn't see it. It was blurry. I was like, man, if the whole movie's like this, I'm gonna have to like walk out. Like I'm getting nauseous, all this stuff, but. No, like after that, like opening scene, like obviously they're just trying to show it like super pan out really fast. But I was just like, oh man, this is gonna be rough. Like I wish this was 2D. But like you said though, like later on, I couldn't even tell like that there was any like big.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think the 3D is necessary. I mean, I don't think I've said the 3D is like recommended for any movie in a long time. We only go because it's like
Spy Kids 3D, man.
Showing.
That was the best one.
Yikes.
Unless your theater has really comfy chairs, then 3D is kind of worth it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. All right, let's hop into full spoiler zone. So,
all right,
no longer
entering
safe if you haven't seen the movie. Yeah. I want to start just by talking about like the general story. So I guess the concept is that there's like kind of a VR world that everyone, pretty much everyone, seems to be inhabiting. Most of the time, and I guess the hook of the movie is that the creator Halliday put an Easter egg in the game, and his kind of issue to everyone to like go find it because of the reward, which is pretty massive. Become like multi-trillionaire.
You get all of his shares.
You have access to the Oasis, and you can do whatever you want creatively to it.
Yeah.
And so I guess to get the Easter egg, you have to collect these 3 keys, and that's kind of like the hook of the movie and like the general formula or layout or structure of it. And I personally really like the idea of an Easter egg, just as somebody who's been gaming my whole life. Like Easter eggs are, I don't know, it's I feel like it just adds like a really personal touch to a video game.
It's not like it doesn't make the game or it doesn't make or break the game, but like it's just interesting to see them in there, and it's just I appreciate
you hit it. And you're kind of happy. You're like, oh, look at this.
Yeah.
And I remember back like before the internet was absolutely everywhere, and you would hear about an Easter egg and just like have very rough like instructions on how to go find it. Or
it'd be like a legend, honestly, like a myth. It's just like the tale of the Easter egg.
And then when a lot of the time, like Sonic and Melee, he's not in Melee. That's not an Easter egg. And sometimes the Easter eggs are true, and it is always like I remember there was always a ton in Halo 3. That was one that really stuck out for me. Like there's Trogdor, yeah, there's one.
Trogdor's in there?
There's like a paper on the ground. It's got Trogdor on it.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's, amazing.
And there's like
Easter eggs.
There's one of like this dev in like his underwear like dancing if you go to like this very specific spot. Like, I don't know. It's always been something really fun. So I think that's a really cool idea. At least it was interesting for me as a viewer. I was like, okay, I'm interested to see, even though it was like literally a golden egg. So, I mean... I guess it's more about the prize at the end, but I don't know. Generally, I thought the story was interesting, and that's why I really like the character of Halliday, because he's, obviously this game, the Oasis, the world they're in, is just a culmination of like his experience and his life, and obviously he is really open with sharing like everything about his life. I thought that was kind of strange.
The Halliday journals.
Yeah, you can go and watch like any memory, and he's like recorded every single movie he's ever watched, every single game he's played, and I don't know. I thought that was it was something different, I guess. And obviously, this takes place in like the future at some point.
I think it was 2040 something.
5.
Yeah, 2045.
2045.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah, that's not in the book.
What's that?
What?
The big library with all the videos. And
Oh,
everything.
really?
Yeah.
So how do they find out?
Yeah.
Information about
Yeah.
him?
How do they go about this research then?
So the main character Wade it's called the almanac, and he keeps all his information compiled in it in this book. There's no videos for him to watch or anything. He's just, I guess.
But is Halliday still really open about sharing
well, it's whatever
experiences of his life and stuff?
Well, it's whatever you can find about him on the internet.
Okay.
It's not all compiled in one place like that.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's quite a bit different.
Yeah, that is quite a bit different.
And
that changes a lot.
That would really change a lot of the story
Yeah.
and how they go about finding things.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Throw a wrench right in the beginning of this.
Yeah. Okay. So I actually have a question for you right away, and I don't know if because I think they did change quite a bit, obviously from the book. But so there's 3 keys, and they're in very specific spots. The first one is by finishing a race, which you have to do something. It's not just by getting to the end of the race. It's about figuring out the secret of it. And then the second one is by going to the virtual version of The Shining and solving that clue. And then the third one, that's where I'm kind of confused. So the third one is by going to the specific place and playing the Atari, playing Adventure, and finding the Easter egg. But how did they find out that was what they had to do? Because that one was kind of solved by the IOI.
IOI, yeah.
Is that what they're called, right?
Yeah.
So that one, I'm not sure how they found out that was what you have to do. Do you guys?
I'm trying to think back to the movie of what happened to that.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
In the movie,
they talked about it really quick. They're like, oh yeah, the IOI figured it out, and then they explained what they had to do, but it was super short. It was.
Okay. Yeah, that's one of those things that was just really quick to me, and I missed it because the other 2 other ones, it's a pretty extended effort of them going through and watching the videos.
Yeah,
and
they discuss, they're trying to
it.
figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. And it takes multiple kind of brainstorming sessions to figure it out, and it was all laid out and made a lot of sense to me. And it's kind of about breaking down what he's saying and thinking about what he's saying as metaphors, and then applying it. So that I just didn't understand how they found out about the Atari.
Maybe it just randomly appeared.
The console somewhere?
Yeah. Because, if no one had gotten to that before, so that way people couldn't get key 3. I don't remember how they transitioned it in the movie at all.
Well, because remember that was the one that obviously the IOI figured out, and they did mention it very quickly.
Yeah.
But that's something.
I remember they said, and then they explained it, but it was one sentence. It just happened so quick, and then they're okay.
So the first one of it's completing a race, which is a pretty wild race. There's wrecking balls everywhere. There's King Kong that you have to get by.
Jurassic Park,
yeah. There's a lot of stuff that I knew Taylor was gonna love.
Oh, I know.
There's dinosaurs. There's Chucky. Chucky was going in, killing a bunch of guys.
Why didn't Taylor come? Honestly,
He's going to a rave
after.
That's Taylor for you.
Yeah,
but,
go on, going Raven.
Yeah. So the first one you have to beat this race at the very beginning. You go backwards instead of forwards. It was kind of a cool solution, but it just kind of seemed weird to me that no one had done that. How no one had even tried that. Because I don't think you really need the clue to figure that one out. You just have to drive backwards. And
maybe it's just the really fast part, not stopping. I don't know, would you ever reverse full speed into a brick wall?
That's true, yeah.
I feel like IOI would try that, right? Because they have, how many thousands of employees who their job is just to, test drive these things, and they're every day, continuously doing this race. That's why I just don't understand how no one, drove backwards. Like that just seems like such a simple thing to me.
Yeah. Well, there you would have got the key.
Yeah, well, because it was like 5 years.
Yeah, right. Yeah, 5 years for people to find these things out. So that's why I think pacing-wise, where like some of the issues came up for me, because of how quickly it all happens. Like from the time they get the first key all the way to finding the Easter egg, right? Like if it took 5 years and no one found absolutely anything out, and then they did everything in like what seemed like 2 or 3 days, like it was very fast. So I think that's to me where like story-wise and like I have like little problems with it, where it doesn't really make a whole lot of logical sense. I mean, it's still like enjoyable to watch, and it was fun, like cool CGI, and like the race was pretty intense. Like
honestly, that was like one of the near the beginning of the movie that I was just like, oh man, this movie. But
Super
after that, it
Tron
settled down.
Reminiscent, like when he's in the bottom part.
I kind of like that though. It felt like he glitched out of the map, and like how many times have you done that in a video game where you just like see everything above you and you're just like below it?
It was like that.
I definitely appreciate that.
That's where cool. Like I don't feel like super negative on most things in general, because like it at least looked cool. Yeah. It just didn't make a whole lot of like logical sense, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So just I guess to clarify before we keep going, the first and second task in this movie are not the same as in the book.
Really?
There's no race and there's no shining.
Right.
And in the book, it's actually what it is they have to get the key, and then the key opens a portal, and so they have to do 2 different tasks to even keep going.
To get like the clue for the next one or something? Or?
Yeah, so they get the key, have to find the portal, and then they get the clue for the next one. So it's not just like, here you go. So it is a bit different, and there's a lot more references because of it. Like, I think, like the first task is like there's D&D is one of the tasks kind of things, and then they have to like go into a movie and play a character and say the lines perfectly without messing up.
That's cool.
So it is different. So they definitely shortened it that way and kind of took it into something that wouldn't be as boring to watch, and so I can appreciate that, but it is a lot different. Like, it's not just here's your key, play Atari, because that's like the very last thing after
that one's the same though.
Yeah, that one is the same. The Easter egg.
Yeah.
And
well, what did you think of the changes then, or the race? Like, what did you think of the race as being like, one of the 3 tasks you have to do?
So this is where it comes in, because I didn't remember. Like, I went and did my Spark Notes before I came, and like went through my book. I didn't remember what the tasks were. I just remembered that that's what it was. So for me, I still went in and I knew that 3 tasks had to be done to get to the end, and so I had a fun time with it. I was like, yeah, this is fun to watch, but comparatively, it's not nearly the same.
The structure of it is the same.
Yeah, similar idea, but like super condensed.
Super condensed.
Which is kind of what you expect in a movie adaptation of a book, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess one thing what do you guys think of the main cast, your main actor, and
I like them. There's a lot of like we kind of discussed this, or like I felt like there's a lot of like weird writing flaws of like when he just like came out and said he loves that one chick, Artemis. I just like hated that part. It was so cringy, and I was just like, oh no, like off of this, It was just
that was a problem for me, because once again, just because of how quick it happened, right? Like he knew her for like what felt like 2 days or so at that point.
You find a girl gamer, man. You just announce your love her.
Yeah, I guess so. And yeah, like to reveal his name, like I don't know. It's just, it doesn't make sense, because he is described this whole time as like being very smart, and obviously he he's looking at like the details of everything. He's the one who solves like all of these. Yeah. I guess he solves the first 2 keys, and he's the one who actually completes this task. He's obviously a really smart guy, so it just seemed like really strange that he would do that. I understand love, really can change how you think about something. You might not be thinking straight, but like, I don't know. I feel like knowing someone for 2 days, that's where I didn't really feel justified in that being like the reason why everything gets unraveled, and why his like aunt gets killed, like that whole place he lived in gets blown up, and why they're getting chased down, and why he has to run. Like all of this is because of that one moment. So I don't know, like there's a lot of consequences for that one like pretty stupid moment, and like pretty poor writing moment. I feel like that was
Book
kind
to
of a
the
bummer
rescue. So they kind of mention it, but it's super quick. where he's like, you know, oh, that's Artemis, like, she's this and this, and I've read all this about her. In the book, it actually goes into great detail to talk about how obsessed with this character he is.
Oh, okay.
So he actually, like, spends all this time researching her and, like, talking about her with however you...
H.
Yeah, it's spelled really weird, though.
It is spelled AECH.
Yeah.
Is it? Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I always thought it was just the letter H until I saw, because they do like a first person view, so you can see like their gamer tag.
Oh, I didn't
That's
notice
what I
that.
Yeah, it's spelled weird. So it's not quite as quick in the book.
Yeah, because in the movie, like when he's at the race, he's like, "That's Artemis. Oh, she's like a Twitch streamer or whatever."
Yeah.
What I don't know what they called it, but like, because obviously in the book, like you said, like they would talk about that he just adores her, but like in that split second, he's just like, I feel like he was just like, "Yeah, I know her. She's a reputation. She's a gamer." It's not like, "Oh, I'm obsessed with her."
Yeah, so it's definitely a lot more in the book. It's not even so much like a adore thing. It's more of like an obsessive kind of situation. Not so much like we're doing this together, but like
That sheds some more light on the whole breaking his announcing his love for her. And all that stuff.
So that's
I guess if someone doesn't have that book knowledge though, and they're like very, I don't know, they're critiquing that, they're like, oh no, I didn't like that.
It's true though. Like it was super quick, and I think the only reason that I didn't have that same kind of flaw was because I heard him talking about knowing about her.
No, definitely.
So I can definitely see the flaw not knowing that, though.
Yeah.
It is super quick. Like, oh, look we haven't even done a second challenge or anything.
Yeah.
One challenge in.
I felt like it wasn't even like that far into the movie. Like, it was probably like 40 minutes into the movie or something too, right?
Well, yeah, they hadn't even gone into The Shining.
Yeah.
It was like they had just done the race.
Yeah.
It was really fast.
It was really fast.
What was I gonna say?
Well,
Yeah, I think my other thing with, like, I didn't really find like a whole lot of chemistry between those two actors, like the Parzival and Artemis.
Samantha.
Yeah, like
Wade.
like them. Like I thought their avatars, you know, and in the game, like I always liked their interactions. I thought it was fun, but when it came to, I mean, just in general, like the reality, the live action stuff was like the acting wasn't so great. I think that's where the poor writing really like would shine, and like it just makes it hard to really believe in that or really be too involved in the story because obviously they're like the main two for the whole movie.
Big lead. That was definitely like the biggest down point of this whole movie for me was the real life scenes. I just personally I found them super cheesy. Like you said, the writing, the acting was just, it felt not perfect, and I don't know, I just really didn't like it. My least favorite scene of the whole movie was that rooftop scene when Wade and Samantha like first meet. I felt like that was like 10 minutes long, and the whole time I was like, just get back into the game. Like, this is so bad, and I just hated it, and I just felt so uncomfortable. I was just like, oh man.
I definitely agree. Like, I always wanted to get back to the game.
Yeah.
That was the most interesting stuff to me.
Definitely. And do you have anything to say on that rooftop scene? I was just going to transition to something
You can
else.
transition if you'd like.
Okay. I was just going to say, like, going back to their avatars, I really like their avatars, like, personally.
Yeah,
and, like, all of them. Like, H, I thought, I don't know, I guess you'd call him a male in the game world. He was just a badass. And,
you're supposed to think that. It's the same in the book. It never actually says anything, and then when he, like, gets picked up by the van, he's like, holy shit, like,
Well, it's like super like hulking like beast man basically in the game, and then ends up being.
I think the voice distortion on him kind of gives it away. Like,
that one scene when he was like, "Oh, you don't know, it could be a girl."
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, "Okay, H is a girl or something."
Yeah.
But I was gonna mention like at the very beginning when they show the avatars. My first thoughts were I was like, oh, I kind of hope they do like a Sword Art Online thing where they like make their faces like normal instead of like the actors, but like that totally changed as the movie progressed. Like I just fell in love with the avatars. I thought they were so cool looking, and like just the detail on like all of their details, like their hair, their tattoos, their face. It just looked so awesome to me, and I really really liked it. And we were talking about the CGI a little bit, and that, like normally like. It's just like, oh, it looks a little fuzzy, like the CGI stuff, but like the close-up scenes of their faces, it just looked so like polished, and it just looked so nice to look at, and I just really enjoyed that whole like the CGI world and everything. I thought they did such a good
I have
job on
to
that.
completely agree. I mean, the main like 5 the high five is what they call themselves.
Yeah,
the high
their
five.
clan.
I can explain that one too.
The high five
after,
alive?
yeah.
Okay.
Because they get really high together. I don't know. Yeah, no, I thought the CGI on all of them was excellent. Like the connections between them, like really, it does feel like I don't know, it felt substantial. It felt like they were physically there, and totally. I mean like. I honestly can't think of like any time where the CGI was like off-putting to me. Like obviously sometimes it was like sensory over, a little too much. But in terms of like looking good and looking realistic, like the characters, the way they moved around when interacting with each other, it was really good. And like just stylistically as well. Like Artemis like looks super cool.
Yeah,
you know?
She had so many like just cool details to like her face and like the way like her hair was and just her
when
eyes,
they
all
go
that
to
stuff.
when they go dancing,
the disco,
like the outfit she's wearing, because it's like the Widowmaker thing, right? I think I'm like
when I was driving
saw
home, I was like, okay, I totally like that's all I could see now. I just picture it like
if you look at like the
outfit.
top half of Romy, it looks exactly like Widowmaker because
I'll have
her
to,
skin is like
Google it,
purple too. So I don't know if that was actually intentional, but I definitely saw
It
it.
was
I
probably
thought
inspired.
I thought that was
Trace
super cool to combine like that look,
Yeah.
like that outfit with like an actual dress as they go dancing. I thought that was really clever, and I think the coolest character, like looking character, to me was IROC. I actually loved IROC. I thought
Who's IROC again?
that was like the
guy?
the henchman.
Oh, okay,
guy
I
with the
love
skull
that
chest.
guy. Yeah,
He
oh my
looks
God.
so cool, and TJ Miller is the voice actor from Deadpool, right? I loved all his dialogue. I thought he was so funny. He was always like talking about like this neck cramp. He's like, "Can you stand to my right side?" So it's like
it's hilarious.
Jarred on my neck.
Me and my girlfriend on the ride home, we were talking about it. And it's funny. I was like, man, it's funny because when he first mentioned like the neck thing, I was just like, oh yeah, it's kind of funny. But then like the second time he mentioned it, because the guy asked him something, and he's just like, I don't know, man. I think I'm gonna need some physical therapy. And I was just like, I just burst out laughing. I was like, oh man, that was hilarious.
It's funny because like his intro scene is like so epic.
I know, yeah.
It's like Ronan from Guardians of the Galaxy. You're supposed to be like scared of him. He's menacing, but then he's just like a jokester. Yeah, he is kind of menacing. He has like all these weapons, and he's pretty violent and
I'm
stuff.
expecting some like heavy
he's just
voice.
and it's like his name's IROC, and it's just like a joke.
Yeah.
Because of his massive ego. And I love that character. I think that made the scenes with the main villain being in the CG, in the Oasis like a lot more bearable, because he was pretty one dimensional and like just a flat like evil guy with no real backstory or anything to be interesting.
Even in the Oasis, he's just a guy in a tux.
Was he supposed to be like?
You just reminded me of a Metal Gear Solid.
I don't know what he was supposed to
totally
be.
reminded me of a Metal
He's
Gear
from the
Solid villain.
Matrix. Come on now, Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson.
No,
He's not that jacked, though.
No, but that's
it was
just
like
what
a
it made
mixture
me
of
think
Superman. Because
of.
he had like the little
He
like...
did look very Superman.
He had like the little Superman like swirl in his hair. That
Wearing
just,
those Clark Kent glasses.
Yeah, just always wearing a suit.
I like that. But,
It's a disguise.
Yeah, personal.
I was gonna say something about a character, but I forgot now.
You're gonna say the high five. If you
I
wanna
can talk
mention
about the
that.
high five.
Yeah, tell us about the high five.
So basically, what it is whoever gets the first key, they get like the highest score, and then whoever gets to the first key first, and then whoever gets to the first key second, their score is a little bit
So
lower.
they're the five.
So yeah, because they explained it on the first key, so one person gets it, and then they tell everyone else. So, but then because they discover the second key first as well, it's the same thing. They all just tell each other. So because they always get the top high five scores, no one can ever move into that.
I see.
Yeah, so
That makes sense.
yeah, they only mention it the once, but that was the reason why. Is because no one else would discover it first, so they could just stay up in the top.
I just thought it was a super cheesy, weird nickname that they gave
Yeah,
themselves.
I actually mentioned that to Matt when we walked out. I was like, I really don't think they should have thrown that in at the very end for no reason without explaining it.
Yeah.
Like, here's our
Your
nickname.
explanation, it makes so much sense, and it's just like, I can totally understand.
And like,
they just talked
even
about that.
just watching them be like, you could probably like guess that.
Yeah.
I didn't.
I didn't,
personally, but I can see why someone would
like,
guess
they must high five when they win? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, I guess it is kind of like a double entendre.
Well, yeah, he does do the high five.
He does
but
do the high
couple
five a
of
lot.
Right.
Or he tries to. No one really.
No one ever wants to.
No one's ever down with that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Shining section.
Oh, yeah.
Kirkland, take it away. You love this part.
This was definitely my favorite scene of the entire movie.
Oh, you were serious that you loved it? I thought you were like going to be super sarcastic.
No, I just loved it. As soon as they opened the door, and it's like the exact same... Literally the exact same room from the movie, and I love that movie. My whole family loves that movie. Like, we just would get together and watch it, and it's just like Just like
That's her
I can just
family watching The
picture
Shining.
like Jack Nicholson like sitting down in his chair typing away, and then it's hilarious too because like it's kind of an inside joke, but like that scene when they go into room 237 and like the naked chick's there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it was just so perfect because like was it not the exact same actress? I swear to God, it was.
They made it look like
Yeah,
her,
it was the exact same thing.
Same with the twins too.
Yeah, the twins, and like, because like I've seen the movie, I know
Mm-hmm.
exactly what's gonna happen. Sitting next to my girlfriend, she's never seen The Shining, so she was genuinely scared watching that because like she didn't know what was gonna happen.
I wasn't scared by that, but when the first axe came through the door,
Yeah.
I jumped.
I jumped.
Yeah, I
too.
jumped too,
Okay.
definitely.
Maybe that's the audio, you know. You're really
Well, it's a different room than the movie, right? But no, I don't know. I've always been like a horror movie fan too, so like that thrown in there.
Yeah, I wasn't. I don't think anyone was expecting that.
And like it's a video game movie, but like I never expected seeing like a horror like genre in this movie, right?
Mhm.
Like, and I love horror games, so like adding that in there, I just loved it. Oh yeah, just everything about that whole like start to finish of the Shining scene, I just loved it. And then when they go to the ballroom and like the ghosts are there dancing,
Yeah, that was also like a fun set piece.
Mhm.
I like that.
yeah.
There's all those zombies dancing around you. You have to like jump across the rocks and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, and then like you said, the little girls, I just love seeing them there. They're like the exact same too. Like they did such a good job at recreating that and building that atmosphere of The Shining because like every room they were in, it was the exact same as the movie. I just felt like they did such a good job with that whole scene. Very unexpected too. That adds to the hype. Definitely wasn't expecting to see The Shining in this.
Yeah, no, not at
Yeah.
all. Like, because it is Monty Python in the movie, so, and then it's like randomly
Yeah.
The Shining. It's like, oh, okay, kind of taking a left-hand turn, but.
That is quite a difference.
That is definitely.
And then I guess do we want to go to the third key while we're talking about it?
Yeah,
then? The
sure.
Atari. Yeah, what they say it's because it's like the first Easter egg that was in a game or
Yeah.
Adventure.
I don't.
1981.
I imagine that's actually true. I
Yeah.
didn't.
I think it
I didn't
was.
check fact.
I think at one point I was on YouTube watching like facts about video games while I was like eating food or something, and I swear that was like the
That's-
first
okay.
Easter eggs.
weird, I guess. But if that's what
Don't
you do in your
judge me.
spare time,
I would watch a video.
Don't judge me.
I
Yeah.
would watch videos.
I mean, I
I
could
go
just
on
see like
YouTube for a lot of
eating
things.
noodles, Mr. Noodle.
Exactly.
Mr. Noodle.
I'm gaming. I go get food, and I want to watch something about video games. So I'm eating.
Exactly.
Not
Some
like
people go on Twitch. some
Why is
people
that
go-
weird?
I don't know. Maybe just because I don't like go on YouTube and search random video game facts from the 80s and 70s.
It might have just been on my feed.
You should do that
Just
more. It's one of my favorite pastimes. I personally love that because I feel like I actually learned something. You know, like,
Mhm.
it might not have a whole lot of real world value, but I think that's a fun fact to know that Adventure is the first video
Mhm.
game that ever had an Easter egg, and I like that the Easter egg was just
His
the
name,
developer putting
yeah.
his name in the game. Like,
Yeah.
and it's
Really
one of
cool.
those classic Easter eggs where it's like there's no hint, or obviously this is before like you would have instructions or people talking about it. It's just you go into like a empty room and you just move
Yeah.
around, right? And that's, I guess, like that's one thing they stress in the movie as well. That's kind of like the essence of what an Easter egg is originally supposed to be about. It's not like about, I don't know, doing a certain like
Trying to win.
not about trying to win. It's just about like experiencing the game or wandering
Yeah.
around and getting lost in it. And
Totally.
so I thought that was a really fun twist, and I like that they had like all the people playing like all the different Atari games and just trying to beat them all until they find the right one. That's once again where, because the one girl who like suggested that they try Adventure next, because she did say we should play this. This is the first game that ever had an Easter egg, right?
Mhm.
So I think it's kind of weird that they didn't actually do the Easter egg and like think that would be
if
the
they
solution.
knew about it, right?
Yeah, but you could tell that they were trying to like discredit her just by the fact that she's like, we should try this one, and he's like,
Right.
nope,
Yeah.
doing a different game.
Yeah, that was a pretty hectic place. There was like 40 people blurting out suggestions, just like throwing Atari games
Like a
everywhere.
freaking like New York Stock Exchange. Like it was just hectic in there.
Like Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah. Just throwing Atari games. Yeah, no, I thought that. I mean, obviously that really ties it all together as being like tied to video games. That's OG, and it's once again representative of. I guess what we didn't mention before is how representative the trials are of like Halliday himself. I guess the race isn't really. Now that I think about it, it's kind of just like a race
Well,
with
no,
King
'cause
Kong and stuff.
it was supposed to be about like wanting to go backwards. 'Cause
Right.
that was his thing, that so much had changed and
Yeah.
that everything was going different ways, and he just wanted to go back.
Yeah, right.
So that there
Yeah.
was supposed to be some kind of
I guess it's just different because like The Shining he picked because it's like his. Well, I guess it's not his favorite horror movie. It's his 11th favorite horror movie, according to Parzival. But it's still like something he loved. And then, Adventure is presumably a game that he was playing when he was a kid or something. So it was just like all like personal stuff. So I guess, who doesn't like a good race? I guess that's how it could be tied to him.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I found like those trials were. It sounds like they were more complex in the book, and that would be interesting. And I am curious to like. If I do read it now and see like the differences and how there is like more there, and they're obviously a little more simple in the movie. It's more about solving the puzzle as opposed to like overcoming a challenge. And I don't know. I think that it was fun as a viewer to like see that stuff, and I felt like I was going through it with them to an extent.
Yeah.
Should we? We're just kind of jumping around here.
I know. Yeah,
We're a little lost.
That's all right.
I mean, we've never
It's not about getting to the end. It's about the adventure.
Exactly.
Yeah,
just
there we
experiencing
go. Looking for those Easter eggs.
It's about wandering. One thing I really liked is just that they all had kind of like an inventory, and they're equipping different weapons and stuff.
That, yeah.
I love it when he wins the first key, and he just like gets a bunch of money, and he goes just like buys a bunch of random shit. It's cool that that can turn into like real world stuff as well. But he buys like the holy hand grenade, which comes up later, and I guess like throughout, like they're just kind of using random items that they've picked up over the time
that's what they
the
say,
game.
because when they go to what's it called, the Mount Doom, is that what it is?
Yeah, I think so.
And then it's just like it's basically like the Wildian RuneScape. It's basically like the Wildian RuneScape. Like you go in there, you get huge rewards, but if you die, you just lose everything. So it's like
big risk,
big reward. Basically,
I like that they IROC brings in that like orb that the energy shield that's going to protect them so that they can do the Atari challenge, and he's like Nolan asks him like, oh, so how long does this thing like last for, like how strong is this thing, and he's like 10 million years, I think we should be good. So I don't know, I just like the just how they just had items and stuff like that.
Totally, yeah. No,
it just really appeased the video game.
Absolutely.
Like, because that's one thing I think is interesting about, we've had a few video game movies come out, Warcraft, Assassin's Creed, Tomb Raider just came out, Rampage is coming out, and it seems like those movies are trying so hard to forget that they're, based off of a video game.
That's true,
whereas this is based off a book, and it is like the best video game movie, I would say,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I like that it really embraced that, and obviously it's different because they're actually in a video game, so it's, a bit different than those movies which are trying to be realistic, but I think those, those aspects of, like, video games are just, like, so important to all of us, and, it's something, like, I don't know, all three of us, all of us on the Geekverse, we've been playing video games our whole lives, so the fact that they're just using like random items they picked up and going all these different places and leveling up, and I don't know, it's fun to see that stuff.
I wanted to touch on the items because like the items I found were just like they didn't really talk about them too much. It's just like other than like holy hand grenade and all this stuff, but like
they'd be like
exactly. And I just love seeing like at the end when they're basically charging to the Atari at that last place, and like the people are just throwing like big guns from major games. I didn't know a lot of them personally, but
there was a few Halo weapons in there.
Yeah, exactly. And then like when they first showed H on Mount Doom, he had like the assault
he had the assault rifle.
Yeah, he had the assault rifle from Halo, and I was just like, oh, that's awesome. Like I just love seeing stuff like that, right? And,
I missed that, so I need to go.
Yeah, the first weapon he was using was the assault rifle.
The assault rifle.
It's one of those things, like, there's just so much.
Oh, there's so much detail and stuff. It's hard to kind of see through the 3D glasses, especially on like scenes that are just moving so fast because it's super sensory overload.
Well, yeah, especially because like that ending fight scene, like there's so much.
There's so much going on.
I'm sure there's a lot I missed. Like I saw online, there's like Star Wars, there's like stormtroopers and Star Wars characters kicking around. I did not see any of them, but what I liked is that it didn't really feel like there was just references and cameos for the sake of like references or for the sake of saying like, oh, there's Star Wars characters in this movie. Like if this was like a real world like VR thing that everyone was playing, like people would be playing as Tracer. People would be remaking their favorite characters. People would be using Halo assault rifle.
What was that? The one game, like the Ugandan Knuckles, and people like just made 20 of him and ran around.
Sorry, what?
Okay, anyway, there's like a VR game where you can like make your own character and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. There was like you know, you
People
get
are
that
gonna
Knuckles,
recreate,
became popular, and so there was like 50 of him, and then something else became popular, and there's random things running around. You'll have like Harley Quinn, and it's the same thing.
Right.
You know, you can say that it's just for references, but it's totally true. People jump on what
absolutely.
they like.
Yeah, obviously people would be doing that.
Yeah. No, I just loved anytime I could recognize like a cameo in it, I just enjoyed it more, right? And I saw Tracer in there a couple times.
Yeah.
I saw a bunch of Spartans running around, like a group of Spartans. I was like right on. I saw
Ninja
like
Turtles.
I saw some StarCraft.
I like the
references.
Gundam.
The
the battle at the end, that was so cool.
That was so
I love
bad.
that
With his sword.
He's like,
Oh,
Mecha Godzilla versus Iron Giant. I was like, man,
I was excited.
if they threw Jet Jaguar in there,
I was so waiting for Jet Jaguar.
When he was like switching through it, man, I wish.
I'm like, man, if they had Jet Jaguar.
Well, even if they just had the name Jet Jaguar, I would have been so satisfied. Like, there's nothing more I would have wanted than that.
Oh yeah, no, that was awesome.
Go ahead.
Just on the character, the orc scene with the alien like coming out,
Yeah.
and, like chomping. That scene was
That was hilarious. I think that guy's from Street Fighter. Like
Is it Street Fighter?
The forearm
Is he?
dude?
Yeah.
I think he's from Street Fighter.
Okay.
I didn't.
I'm not a big Street Fighter person, but
Well, I know Ryu was in there. Ryu was in
Oh,
there.
was it?
Chun-Li was in there as well.
Yeah, saw
Okay.
that one.
Saw them fighting. Yeah.
No, it was cool. And like, I know it's kind of different, but like just like references to other games of like even like on their like gear, like when they're in real life and like they have their headsets. Like I saw like Mortal Kombat stickers and just like references to like games like that too. I was just like, man, this is so cool.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like they weren't. I don't know. I feel like a lot of times like they're kind of scared of like licensing issues in this.
Yeah.
But like in this one, there's so many.
Yeah, obviously they didn't have to be scared.
Exactly,
They had
yeah.
all the rights to use all this stuff.
Yeah, no, and they used it so well, and they just threw so many things in there. I like watching the trailers before I came to this. I was like, man, I kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of hopeful thinking, but like seeing like a major game character that I know just being like a major role in this movie. Obviously that wouldn't happen, but I was just like, oh, maybe that would be awesome. Just seeing like anyone really.
Yeah, and I mean none of them were really like bigger characters.
Oh no,
but like still like even
extras.
like the ending fight. Those three characters we just mentioned.
Yeah.
Like, those are obviously a big part of like that battle.
Oh, yeah.
Like they get like an extensive amount of screen time. Let's talk about the villain. I want to jump into the villain now. So first of all, I like the idea of the like IOI just being like this corporation. They say it's the second biggest like company in the world next to I guess Halliday's Oasis being like number one company, even though he's the sole heir and has passed away. But it's the second biggest company, and I thought that was like a interesting like aspect of it. I guess the world building of it is that it's just this company whose like sole purpose is to solve these clues, get the Easter egg, and then obviously get the insane amount of like cash prize that comes with it. And so I thought that was cool, and I like that their like whole facility is just all sorts of these employees just going on and hopping in the simulator for a certain amount of time or doing tasks. It seemed like some like what was up with those ones being like locked up? I guess those were like there's like prisoners.
I guess they had like debt with them or whatever.
So they're just paying off their debt. Essentially just slavery, but they're just using different words for it. So obviously it's like a pretty shady company, and like the leader doesn't give a shit about video games or anything. He's just a businessman who's
talking about ads.
A greedy businessman. Yeah,
putting ads in the game,
and that's why everyone's trying to like stop him, is because they don't want it to be ruined.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and so I liked that aspect of it, but I found him like as the villain, as the face of it all was just very one dimensional. He was just evil for the sake of being evil. He's a classic greedy guy. There was no backstory on him whatsoever. I found he was just like boring, as well. Like when he was just talking to people on screen, like he wasn't really that menacing either. Either his avatar or him himself. Like he was just. I guess there's that one scene where he is talking to Wade and like tells him that he knows his name and that he's gonna. And I guess it is pretty menacing that he just fucking blew up, that stack from the stacks where he was living and killed his
mom's
aunt.
sister.
Yeah, that was super weird to me.
Weird. Oh my god.
That was just like a really weird writing thing. Like, why would you say?
I was just blown away. I was scratching my head. I was like, I can't believe they just like. Why do they not know ants?
Like, what? You know what an ant is?
You killed my
mom's
mom's sister.
Have ants anymore in the future?
I know. That's so weird.
I think the thing that really, because the villain for me, honestly, is the only thing that I really, really disliked about this movie. Everything else, like I said, was just like those little things. But what really broke the character for me was at the end of the movie when he has his gun and he's going through this crowd. He's zoning in on Z and he's gonna kill him, I guess. And first of all, I don't know why those people didn't stop him.
I know.
He had like one little pistol, and you were right beside him, like
behind him.
It would have been really
him,
easy to stop him without like any casualties. But then he's going through the crowd, pushing people aside with his gun. He's all scary and stuff. He opens up the door and he sees Z is like holding. He doesn't see the Easter egg. He sees that it's like golden, that he would be holding it, and then he just had like this look of like complete joy. It's that look of like a villain turning good again, and it was so cheesy.
Well, maybe like
it was
he's
so
like, there's no point in shooting him. He already got the egg, so it's not like he can get it anymore. But
the thing, like he's built up as a character who is just like evil for the sake of being evil, or he's just greedy, or he wanted the egg because of the cash prize. Now he doesn't get anything. Like, I get why he wouldn't kill him. I don't know why he would kill him in the first place. That's where like that character doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But like, oh man, that was like the whole ending. Like honestly, that whole ending, like 10 minutes at the end where like the good guys prevail, the doors, everything's good. Yeah, they close the door and kiss, and the bad guys gets taken away by the cops, and everything's hunky dory. No one died. Everything's all good. Like it was just way too hyper cheesy and like way too feel good for me. And I was kind of taken out at the end, unfortunately. But I don't know. What did you guys think of the villain?
Very lackluster. Like he definitely didn't stand out for me. Like a definitely forgettable character, forgettable part of the movie. Like if he wasn't the main villain, I would have just completely forgot he's even in the movie. Right. Honestly, like I don't know. Like he did, like you said, he did no backstory. You don't really know his intentions other than just being like, oh, he's a bad, like he's an asshole. It just wants the like corporate greed, basically.
I think, the only really setup they gave is like an inkling, and that's that he was an employee of Halliday.
His intern, or
yeah,
yeah.
And they like drop that quickly and then never mention it again.
Yeah, because like he's like, oh yeah, you should do like memberships. Basically, these people pay this much, but
yeah,
it's like
gold and silver and bronze.
Like how does that make him evil? It's just him trying to make money off. I don't know.
I can see corporate greed. I can see why it's like different than the ideals that Halliday has, but maybe it doesn't make him like a bad guy.
Maybe it's like a symbolism for like how video games are right now with microtransactions.
Could be a social
pay to win, man.
A social issue is what they're trying to tackle, perhaps.
I don't remember what it is in the book, but it's definitely not an intern.
Oh, it's not?
No, I don't remember what the connection is, but I know it wasn't him being an intern. So. Because the memory thing didn't exist, right?
Yeah.
So he didn't go and find that out through a memory. So, I don't remember why there was this connection, but definitely in the movie there was not really anything. Like you said, his character in Oasis is super plain. Outside, like the one scene where he got kicked in the balls and like acted in the real life, like he was in so much pain, and it was just like such a terrible facial reaction to it.
So
and I was just like, come on, man, like.
Yeah.
So
it hurts big time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
and like usually causes a reaction.
But his face was not like
some reaction.
And not like a pain face, but like.
Oh, he was super cheesy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He was. The thing is, he was. Like, the movie wasn't really cheesy at all. He was, like, the only... Other than, like, I guess the ending in general. He was the only thing that really stuck out as being, like, super cheesy for me. That's where...
I just didn't like a lot of the real-life scenes in general.
Yeah. Well, even his assistant, like...
That chick
who...
The loyalty...
is kind of the one he sends off to
the loyalty program.
Do the dirty work. Well, she, like, didn't really have any depth either, She's a very basic villain. And so I guess that's why, like, it seemed, like... I like the idea of it. I like the concept, and I think it fits within the world, and I think it is like an interesting opposition force. But like none of the people within it had like any personality or really anything interesting. And maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's like supposed to be like a soul-sucking, corporation, and none of them care about anything. But for the amount of like screen time that, or like how much detail really goes into IOI, or how much screen time they get, I guess I could say. Like, I don't know, there wasn't really much justification for it, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like they could have made his, like, Oasis character so much better. I know they're just trying to make him seem like, big boss man, basically. But, I feel like he could have been, like...
he doesn't play video games. It's like the equivalent of just like a basic version.
No, yeah, IROC was definitely the better villain in that movie, even though he wasn't really the main villain, right? He was just a goon.
He was
chasing that paycheck.
I guess he pretty much was a goon.
Yeah.
He felt like he was, because he looks so cool. I'm probably just biased because he feels like he's more important than a goon.
He's more of like a Boba Fett, right? He doesn't have a side. He's just they're paying him, so he's doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's a mercenary.
Yeah, he's not that cool in the book. IROC.
It's not voiced by T.J. Miller.
No, the book, when I read it in my head, he did not have the voice.
The TJ, see, if I read it now, I'm gonna read it with T.J. Miller's voice in my head. Every scene that IROC has.
I wonder if if he's not as silly though in the book, then that might play off well. He might just be kind of boring, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, I think he was boring because I didn't even really remember him having a sidekick.
Yeah.
So
Him having a really cool look helps for sure.
Oh, definitely.
his lines too they were usually pretty great.
Yeah.
when they sets off the catalyst, he's like, "Dude, I got 10 years of stuff in me," and then he loses his arm and just shit's just like pouring out of his arm. It's hilarious.
He's like he has like his tentacle to like keep it in.
Yeah.
Let's see. I have some. Oh yeah, one thing I really liked is when the high five. Essentially, within the game, H is he's always building stuff, or she, I should say, is always building stuff, and fixing things as well. And what they do is make a fake office of like Nolan's office in order to trick him into,
cool.
I guess, as a distraction and trick him to get some information and stuff like that. And I thought that was really cool. That was fun to see, and it fit the characters, and it's something they kind of set up earlier by mentioning that H is always building stuff and.
Yeah, because they were in his shop, essentially, right?
Yeah. So I thought that was just like a cool twist because at first I was like, man, how did they get into his office?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was.
That
thinking.
was kind of stupid.
Yeah.
But then it was.
No, that was really
got
cool.
me, I guess, in that regard. I guess speaking more on IOI, at one point, Artemis kind of sacrifices herself to buy some time for Z, and then she gets sent to IOI. First of all, I don't think she really needed to do that.
Who would have closed the door, though?
Who would have closed the door
Yeah,
behind them?
because she had like a
That's a good point.
a thing. And then I feel like if she wasn't in there, they would have just kept looking until they found where they went.
Yeah.
Boom.
It's one of those things. Once again, it's like a little problem for me where I don't think she needed to do it, but like, whatever.
Kind of forget it.
But
they kind of needed to for the way that they took the storyline.
They needed to for sure because she needed to get there somehow, and then I guess they kind of contact her and help her break out of that cage. I didn't love that segment a whole lot. I felt like her sneaking around and like getting into his office, and then like when they were walking in, somehow she knew they were there, even though she was in the VR world though. That's the thing. Like,
was she in the VR world at the time? I thought she had just taken it off.
Maybe she did. I'm not sure.
Well, she went to one of the Sixers, like, rig, didn't she?
But that was after, because first she goes to Nolan's office, right? And she's in there, and because Z like got the password earlier when he was in the virtual
Bossman 69.
Bossman
Or
69.
she was just holding it up or something, wasn't she? Like she didn't actually have it on. I didn't think.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I can't remember exactly what happened in that segment. But anyway, they like walk in there and she like runs off and hides behind some couch
And like slides and hits the ground and
Her sneak's like level 100.
and then she just like walks out the door and they like don't see her.
Level 100 sneak, man.
That's where it felt like
She put a pot on their
little
head so I couldn't
illogical
see.
what was going on. But yeah, and then she kind of just goes down and equips one of the things and helps out from like the IOI side of it. So that was kind of cool, I guess. I didn't
really understand when she took her helmet off, though. Because she takes off the IOI helmet, but I feel like if she does that, she takes off her VR helmet, doesn't she?
like in game when she takes off. No, I mean it's in the.
I don't know. I just
Maybe
thought it
you're
was
right.
strange.
Maybe you're right, actually.
I don't want to delve too into it because I like the movie.
I feel like the characters in the Oasis should be able to take off, a hat.
That is true.
Without taking the VR off.
Their inventory.
I mean, I don't know exactly because it does feel like they have to like physically do the things, but do they always have to do that? Like I'm
well, because when they well,
I guess Nolan as well. He doesn't have to do anything physical because he has like that rig. So it kind of depends on what your equipment is. Like if you just have the basic headset, then you got to do everything yourself. But if you got the hamster wheel, then you can skip out.
That's like the scene in the end where they're showing everyone in the street that doesn't have
Right, and they're just
the
wandering,
setup, and
That scene I found so funny too, because there was just like people like driving cars and like living their lives. It's like, what the hell do they do when everyone in the world is just like in this VR world,
Right.
and then it's just like driving to the store? I was just like, okay,
It's kind of hard to understand like what the world's actually like because
people run around the
we only see
streets.
one place,
they just
right?
like get hit by cars. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's just,
they
like,
definitely don't talk about the world like at all in the movie. Like
No,
there's definitely
that's
some
not what the movie's
explanation.
about, though.
Yeah, well, you guys hated it every time. Go back to the Oasis.
I did.
Get out of the real world.
Just cheesy.
Yeah, well, I mean, my just because let's talk about more problems is that like all of them just lived there. Like that was
In
pretty.
Columbus.
It's pretty convenient, you know.
Yeah.
It's just like
I did find that a little strange. How like everyone in the high
Yeah.
five was just like blocks away from each other.
you could kind of like explain it because they do say
Columbus the highest
it's the
crime
most
city.
it's the most like populated place in the world. So like maybe there's some stats there that back
Maybe
it
there's
up. But
region locks.
region
on,
yeah, maybe
on
that's
Oasis. Who knows?
But it still felt like I don't know. It's just like a coincidence, right? And
It could be
not
because I
really
mean,
explained.
you know, everyone in that final scene when they're doing the fight and people are like kicking and punching in the street.
And IOI is in Columbus as well.
So yeah, like everyone was like fighting in the street. It wasn't like some people were still playing the game regularly.
I think it gets confusing because they kind of established like the Oasis. Obviously, it's the biggest company in the entire world, right? So I would think that people everywhere are playing it, and I would think you would have access to everyone else's area as well.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't really say that, so I guess maybe that isn't a problem. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Do you want me to wait till I talk about the actual book storyline comparatively?
You can go for it.
Go for it now.
We're going everywhere. We're looking for Easter eggs right now.
Yeah, we're so basically, so yeah, the main difference, I guess, we'll just start kind of from the beginning, is that he like looks for Artemis, like watches her all the time and knows about her, and then him and H actually hang out in like a chat room. So it's like a basement, a VR basement that they hang out in. It's not his shop. So.
Like, you mean in the Oasis, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not like this big workshop with an iron giant being built in it kind of thing.
Okay.
I love the Iron Giant, by the way. That was
It was
phenomenal.
cool.
So,
One of my favorite movies.
and then, so eventually Artemis just gets kind of invited, and that's where they hang out and work on all the notes and everything is in this basement setting. And he doesn't actually meet her like right away. This
In real life.
The resistance thing is not.
I didn't understand the whole resistance thing either.
They
didn't really explain it at all. It was just like Samantha. She's
Well,
like, this is the resistance.
It's supposed to be fighting against the IOI to try and save the
They very
Oasis.
briefly just
Yeah.
pass over it.
So basically, once the stack gets blown up with his aunt, he actually does get captured by IOI, and so he's actually the one that gets put in the center with the helmet, like working for them, and so he ends up kind of like learning information while he's in there, and actually ends up doing things from the inside himself, and then on the outside, H like collected Sho and Daito and Artemis, and so then after he's beat it and he comes out, that's when he actually meets Artemis. Is that like?
And
the
so at that
very
point,
end?
when he's in IOI, has he gotten any of the keys yet? Like, do they have their eye on him at all?
Yeah, I think he has the first two, and he gets the third one like from the inside.
Right. So that segment's kind of similar-ish.
Yeah, that in a way that's similar, but it's not like it. The whole like her stealing him and her going to the resistance and then beat to IY. That's all like super kind of skewed.
I feel like in the movie they wanted to have that like face-to-face real actor interaction, at least fairly on.
But the thing is, it like takes away from it because that's a kind of like how you say it felt rushed with the love thing.
That is true.
It's supposed to be that build up of they've done all of this together.
If it was that way, yeah,
And then,
I think I would have liked it more.
And then I don't remember how it happens, but my Spark notes remind me that actually, so Daito and Sho aren't actually brothers; they are just friends. And one of them.
Does it say they're brothers in the movie?
I was gonna ask that.
You can kind of assume
Yeah,
that.
you make the assumption just based on I tell him that all the time or whatever.
Right.
And
is he actually 11 in the book?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
But one of them does die.
12.
It actually, I don't remember which one, but one of them does die. So it's actually just the 4 people at the end.
Yeah,
like
the
split.
high 4.
The high 4.
I would have liked to see that, not as a pessimist, but as
A realist.
as the fact that the ending was just so cheesy and
You're the
way
guy in
too
the Gundam.
hunky dory, nothing went wrong, everything went our way.
Yeah. Maybe the guy in the Gundam dies when he's fighting Mechagodzilla.
That
Was
was
that Daito?
That was.
That was Daito.
I love that scene, by the way.
Oh, me
We
too.
did kind of mention it, but that was really awesome.
That was so bad. It makes me want to rewatch Gundam Seed.
And then to like this whole thing at the end where they're like, we shut it down on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It actually,
You just mock.
They're doing server
Mocking
maintenance.
Server maintenance.
well, it actually ends with like it doesn't say anything about them shutting it down. It just talks like it ends with him having no interest in going back because he's happy with the real world now instead of it being like this shithole.
Not
Now
just
he's
Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
yeah, and so now he's like, okay, well I've got Artemis and this and that. And then another big theme in the book too is that Artemis like hates herself because she's got this like facial birthmark or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was so downplayed in the movie. I'm like, you got like one eye. Like that's nothing. Come on now.
She didn't really seem to care a whole lot. She thought she might get like judged for it, but that's kind of the extent of that.
Insecurities.
Yeah. Well, then she did like
Well,
her
in the book,
avatar.
actually, do you get to see is her first like reveal alongside like what's his face Z seeing her as well, or do you like get to see her character before?
No.
Okay.
No, you just know her as Artemis.
Right. So it's the
Yeah.
double reveal for the viewer, for the reader and the character.
Yeah. So, I think it probably would have been more effective to give a little bit more to that about kind of the beginning and the build up to the end. And I mean, I guess I can understand why they did it.
Yeah.
But it just does make it seem really rushed and doesn't make as much sense.
Yeah.
Well, I think, something like obviously this, trying to find the Easter egg, it has like such a legacy, years of people trying to figure it out in like this place that is so mysterious and has like all these infinite ends.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think there's any way in the movie really you can get around like either they would have to skip an amount of time, like, it's been like 2 months since the last scene or something, and that would feel jarring, or you kind of just make it like a bit rushed. And, I don't know. I don't think like right. It doesn't feel like that bad. It just some things don't make a whole lot of sense, but yeah, that's just like the translation. From book to movie, you're gonna have to make some sacrifices.
Oh, absolutely.
I want to talk about, or do you have anything more to say on that comparison?
Not at this moment.
Okay. So Halliday I mentioned earlier, and I really liked his character. I think he was the one like actor that I actually liked as well, because I think he really established that like kind of awkward, like quirky thing. But I think that's would be super easy to make really cheesy as an actor, to like do that way too over the top and have it seem really stupid. But I found it believable because he wasn't like. He was like socially awkward, but it wasn't to the point of crippling. I think it was just to the point where he preferred to be alone, and so when he had to be around other people, he would do it, and he was fine at it. But it wasn't like his preferred thing. And I think that was established really well through the acting and through the writing and through the story. Like that's the most like consistent thing throughout the movie for me. I love that his avatar is just like this sick wizard.
Yeah, that was so badass. I like that. Just like the all-knowing.
He would just pop up. Whenever someone found
like Merlin or something.
Have like felt like a very like personal conversation with them.
Oh, totally.
I mean, obviously that whole aspect of like the curator and people watching his memories was not something from the book, but I liked that. I thought it was cool, and it was a way that we could actually see the character, and so I guess that's what I liked about it, because I really did like the acting of it, and I wanted to see more of him. And even though he had passed away by the time the events of the movie start, that's a kind of way to go back and witness all these things. And I really like the curator aspect of it as well, and I loved the twist at the ending that was his partner Ogden from who they created the game together, and then he's been the curator the whole time, helping people and watching through all their memories. And how it gave him like the extra life, the coin at the start of the movie, and how it actually
it was cool too
because that happened really early on.
Yeah,
and then it pays off.
No, yeah,
like, pretty much right at the end.
I kind of sensed some foreshadowing with it. I was like, okay.
I kind of just forgot about it because it's something I didn't bring up.
Okay, yeah, I was like, it's got to have some like significant value or something. Obviously, I didn't expect the extra life. That was a really cool twist actually with the catalyst. How it just took everyone out, but he was still there. And I like that he didn't just like give it to him. Like he actually made a bet. He's like I bet all my whatever it is currency on it.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, you are right.
Yeah,
I can't believe that.
It makes the curator seem like a more like neutral. It's not like he's just for some reason on Z's side. He's just anyone who goes there and is interested. He's giving them the chance to figure that stuff out. So I really like that segment. I really like that twist.
I really like that character too.
Yeah,
like,
and at
like
the end,
not just Ogden, like the character guy.
The you mean like the curator himself?
Yeah,
like the look of him and stuff. Yeah,
I thought
it was fun. I anytime I liked going back to those moments, and he does like that cross search to find like the any time that one girl was mentioned. That's how they get the clue to The Shining. And I like seeing those like brainstorming sessions between them too, of trying to like solve the keys. And so anything with Halliday, and at the end when Z arrives at his old house that he grew up in, and he's like looking around, he's like, where did I put that thing again? And he's like looking through all the drawers and stuff like that. And then like his kid version's over there like playing some video games and stuff, and it just felt really personal. He also had a Rush 2112 poster on the wall, which is one of the greatest albums of all time. And also H was wearing that shirt as well. So
I saw that too.
Two Rush 2112 references, which I have mad respect for.
I was kind of like, I have a question though, because when at the very end, he's like, you're not. Or like he's talking to Halliday, and then he's like, "You're not like a
right."
He's like, "You're not a character." It's like, "What are you?" And he just like doesn't explain anything. And I was just kind of puzzled.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't actually know exactly what's happening.
It's just a part of his spirit is in the game or something. Like I just didn't.
Jessica,
understand.
go. What's going on?
Book to the rescue.
For what?
At the end when he's talking to Halliday, like after he gives him the key and then he's leaving the room with his little like baby version of himself. And
he's a baby, younger
version.
Yeah, he was like, you're not a character. Like, what are you or whatever? And he just like doesn't explain
because he's not an avatar. Because obviously
Avatar,
he's dead. But it seems like he put himself into the game somehow.
Yeah.
Like what's going on there exactly? Like even from from the movie.
I remember at all anything about that.
Yeah.
So, because I just remember it being like there's the signature, and then he says no about signing it, and then he's like that was another part of it, and I don't remember them like being transferred to his childhood home.
I guess you could see it as like I guess it's just like an NPC, but the reason why it would be like so personal or so reflective of him is because the whole Oasis is based off his life, and it contains all the things he loves, So I guess it sort of makes sense that like I don't know, there's a really lifelike NPC of him in there.
Yeah.
And then he obviously could program like a reaction for the person who initially solves the Easter egg. But now that I mention it, I am kind of curious about that, and that's something that I kind of want to know more about.
Yeah, no,
especially because I like that character
puzzled.
so much. I kind of forgot about that.
Well, sorry, I put a lot of questions in your head.
No, that's good.
That's... Are we staying up all night?
So I went and looked because I was
curious.
Yeah. So one thing that we were just talking about. So Og. Yeah, good old Og. So because he wasn't the like curator, because that didn't exist. What it is that he actually he eavesdrops in the Oasis, so he actually listens to them on when they're in their chat room discussing everything, and that's how he knows about them. And they meet because he offers for them to come to his place for somewhere safe, and so he picks them up with his jet. So
he would have been in the story a whole lot earlier than as in the real world.
Yeah, you know about him from you'll still talk about the whole situation of why there's the competition between them and what happened, but he's not put in it like that. He just eavesdrops and listens to everyone. And then this is I did remember after I read it. So Daito actually is killed in real life. He's thrown out of his 43rd floor apartment, and it looks like a suicide. So they kill him in real life, and then because I was wondering about that one. And it does say in here as well that like there's one part where there's 6 months in between.
Right.
When after he gets one of the keys, and then they're trying to figure things out.
That makes sense. I kind of assumed that the book would be like over a lot longer period of time.
Yeah, well, because it took 5 years to figure out the first one. So,
yeah, exactly.
I mean,
the fact that everything else is unraveled in 3 days is a little bonkers.
Yeah, and then
maybe a lot bonkers.
A lot bonkers.
Big bonkers.
It's big bonkers. Something too that they didn't necessarily talk about that is actually part of the reason that he likes the Oasis so much is because he's like fat and made fun of in real life.
Who are you talking about, sorry?
Wade.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah. They really didn't do much for like the outside life at all. The only thing that's really the same is that stack gets blown up and kills his aunt.
No, yeah, they were pretty boring. Yeah. It's kind of unfortunate, isn't it?
That's why I was just happy to stay in the Oasis world. Anytime we were in the real world, I was like, oh.
And I wanted to find out too, because the virtual library didn't exist, so I couldn't remember how he got his extra life. And he does it by playing a perfect game of Pac-Man.
Classic.
Good for him. That's no easy task.
That is no easy task.
Pac-Man's actually quite difficult of a game.
Yeah. So. Yeah, because I was like, okay, well, obviously he didn't exist, so there's no way he could have gotten it from some character that didn't exist. And yeah.
My notes are essentially depleted, so...
I know, there was one thing I wanted to say that I just completely forgot.
Yikes. Was it a reference? Was it a story point? Was it a character? Was it a...
We've jumped around so much that it's...
We've been searching for Easter eggs.
It's hard to know.
I mean, yeah, usually on these reviews we start by, like, talking about the characters, but...
Yeah.
We didn't really talk about the characters.
I don't know.
That's not what this movie was about. It's not about getting to the end. It's about the adventure.
It's about the adventure.
It's about the adventure. Oh, I remember what I was going to say a long time ago.
A long time ago?
Yeah, when we were talking about avatars, like, many, many moons ago. It was a good minute.
I don't know if you were, like, going to drop something from, like, 2 years ago, like a 2 year ago cast. Like,
not
I don't
that
know.
Far away.
I don't know.
When Holloway was, he had the keys, and you could see his body, like, it wasn't actually solid, like, the pixels were moving around and stuff. Super like that.
Yeah, I thought that was badass. Really cool detail.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, actually...
I want to watch it again.
Jessica, I'm curious, what did you think of, I guess, since the curator didn't exist in the book, what do you think of that change? And do you like that as, like, the character?
I think that it's an easier way for the movie. Like, I 100% understand...
Is there flashbacks in the book to, like, Halliday and Ogden back in the day? Or is that stuff just exempt?
I think it's more like reference. Like them trying to figure things out and discussing.
I see.
Because there is so much more to each challenge.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think it's any flashbacks, because everything's from Wade's perspective.
Right.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's...
Okay.
I personally really like the reveal of Ogden being the curator, and they don't really talk about Ogden like much throughout the whole.
It's kind of sprinkled in here and there, or like you'll see like a news article on the side or something.
But he comes out and he's like, "No, I was the curator all the time." It's like, whoa, I like that.
Whoa,
it was whoa. It was a good moment.
Like the thing,
it's a perfect like it makes so much sense.
Oh, it does.
And he can like
definitely.
perfectly keep track of everyone who's onto these things. And
oh, absolutely. And it's not like he was just totally ditched. He was just like forced out of his company, and you just feel bad for the guy.
Yeah,
you know, like he does have a role, and it's definitely a pretty big role.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it would have worked for any other way to show people like trying to figure out the clues and things like that, right? Because that's the thing, after the first one's solved, then that library is just jam-packed.
Yeah.
Because then all of a sudden the hunt's back on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think that's a good way just to kind of show the interest in like figuring things out. And for a watch perspective, like it's not going to be as exciting if Wade's like, oh, that one time that Holloway did this. And it's kind of like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
I remember what I was going to say. When they're first in the shop with Artemis and everything, and they're repairing her bike and everything, I just gotta throw out, I absolutely love the detail when they log out and they just like take the helmets off and they just like fade away in that pixels. Super minor, but I just like loved it. I thought that was so cool.
Nice.
Just logging out of the world.
Yeah. No, I mean,
So many details in this movie that just like made it like definitely up points.
A lot of
the
details.
Yeah.
Lots of details.
Like, he says that she's probably gonna forgive him when he like shoots her in the head. But when you think that they like lose everything they have, like she was probably freaking loaded with coins because she got all the keys too, and like he just took away all her.
She should have just taken off her.
Although when he shoots her, remember Nolan was about to grab her, and then that guy was like. He's like, pick it up next time. He's like, go to the recovery room.
Yeah, no, but I still feel like I would have been pretty freaking salty if I had like millions of coins that could be used to buy anything.
But, considering that they killed Daito, what if they just killed her when they got her,
Yeah, but this is the movie version.
Also,
she wouldn't even be there if we're talking about the version.
They become admins, remember? When they get the egg, so it doesn't even matter. They can just like...
Oh, yeah.
They can just script in items.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. But not on Tuesdays or Thursdays.
Not on Tuesdays or Thursdays. That's maintenance.
No, that's when they're doing things in the bedroom. I guess.
Woo!
Whoa!
Well, they gotta remake the corn syrup? The corn syrup drought?
Oh, right.
Forgot
about
the classic corn syrup drought.
Yeah.
What else was going on in that world that they're discussing?
A lot of stuff in Columbus, apparently. Columbus has happened in place. Everyone's got to move there.
No kidding.
It's gonna
more
blow up
popping off in all of Asia.
All of Asia.
All of Asia.
The whole population just moved to Columbus.
Because obviously they weren't all in the same area too. Because Daito was in his 43rd floor Japanese apartment.
In the boat.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He'd be on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be in Columbus.
I was even awake. He should be asleep.
It's his bedtime.
He's 24 hours streaming.
There you go.
He's got a lot of Monster Energy.
Yeah.
On the go.
Monster Energy.
He's just chugging them back. You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I got. You
that is all I got.
Points
really.
to bring up?
You know what? I think it's all about the journey. It's not about the notes we've forgotten along the way.
It's not about...
There's certainly, various references that we didn't mention, and,
there's tons.
We can just go see it again. Do, a second review.
There's, Fire Emblem characters in this. I didn't see them.
I know, that's what you said, and I want to see them so bad.
I don't know if that's actually true. I hope it is true.
Cheap Tuesday, and then we'll review with Travis and Taylor after they've seen it. Follow-up review.
I don't think I really want to see it again in theaters. I just want to wait until it's online and people can pause and go frame by frame for me.
No?
Maybe I'll watch it on Netflix.
I do want to see it again.
Yeah, I'm going to go to it again.
If it's not in theaters, I'll watch it on Netflix. But I definitely 2D, not watch it in 3D again.
Yeah.
No. Why would you?
I don't know, I got a thing for Adam for a $5 ticket.
Nice.
So I'm, maybe I'll just go by myself when Matt's at work.
There you go. Bring some notes, and anytime you see a character, write them down so that we can try to build a list.
That'll be hard though, because some frames have probably 5 or 6 different.
Yeah, but how am I supposed to look down to write my notes? I'll miss an entire another reference.
You know what you do? You get a little recorder, and you just
or you just video
Harley Quinn.
Teenage Mutant.
Someone in front of you is just shut the fuck up.
I saw them too.
Or leans over your shoulder. You forgot about the Spartans.
Yeah. No, I saw some Angry Birds in there.
Did you?
Yeah.
I missed the Angry Birds. The Minecraft world at the very beginning?
Yeah, that was
cool.
super solid.
I like that, yeah. Right off the bat.
I also, I liked at the very beginning they were just, snowboarding down the pyramids, because I would really love to do that.
Reminded me of Steve.
No, I was just going to say, just go by Steve.
Yeah.
Steve, dude.
Great game.
They do talk about, there's the casino world, where you can, go to that place and do things.
You get married, you get divorced.
And
show the motel.
They go to the motel. He actually does. He has robot sex. He buys a.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's the future.
Parzival does, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, after Artemis gets all pissed off at him
for
declaring love.
Go get some hookers. Some robo hookers.
Yeah. So,
Sounds like Bender Rodriguez.
Yeah, seriously. Bender was on. He's probably a casino world.
Going to the casino planet.
All right, guys, ready to drop some numbers, drop some ratings.
I thought you don't do numbers.
Yeah, you don't.
I don't, but
I don't.
I gotta offer it up for you. You don't do it anymore either.
No, I haven't done it for a while.
Well, you haven't really been around for a minute, guys.
All right, I will vote. I will give this movie. What's the best rating to give it? I will give it 4.5 thumbs up out of 7 parsecs. That's a measurement of time.
Wow.
They do make reference to the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, they did that. Yeah,
they did that. They did that.
They're in the IOI. He's like, you can drive the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, you ever wanted to? You could.
I don't know if I would. I've always thought the Millennium Falcon would be super awkward to handle.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a cargo ship, isn't it?
It's a cargo ship.
But I mean, you're like in a virtual world where you can do it.
Yeah, I would do a lot of things in a virtual
I
world.
like H's freaking monster, the only monster truck in that race.
Yeah.
Just
Everyone else
keeping
just
up
has,
with all like
cookie
the
cutter vehicles.
I did like the DeLorean
But
though.
yeah, I
That
was
was
gonna
awesome.
say, the DeLorean, but apparently that is actually a reference, that monster truck. It's from something. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't know
Is it
what.
from the
Grave
movie?
Digger.
Is it from the movie Monster Trucks?
Yikes.
Did everyone forget about that movie?
Thankfully, yes.
Wait, that's an actual movie?
Yes.
Fuck.
Yeah. Don't worry, you're not missing much.
After cars and planes.
And trains.
Yikes. And trains.
Automobiles.
And automobiles.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, this is a...
Should I give it a number?
If
That's
you
up
want.
to
That
you.
was a number.
That's true. I don't know.
It was what,
Just
7? It was
super, super rough number, not filed down, just like a rough gem that you find with dirt on it
Right.
still.
So it could...
I'll give it an
It
8
could
out
have
of
like
10.
high value.
I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
That's a good number.
Actually,
An
I'll
8.
give it an 8.5 out of 10.
Whew.
Because I feel like it can't be lower than 8. Because I said it was super rough, right? It
Yeah.
hasn't filed down.
You could file it down though, and right, it could like
It could be higher.
It could be 0. It could be
That's
like just
true.
a rock, or it could be.
Well, no, you can see
The
you can
shiniest
see the
diamond.
shine. It's got that red glow like the Philosopher's Stone.
Oh, okay. So it's at least Philosopher's Stone level,
Wow.
and everyone knows
I'd
that's
say
like
it's a Philosopher's
clean
Stone
8.5
out of 10.
I like that kind of rating system. You know, honestly, even if I did give movies like an out of 10 rating these days, I don't know what I would give this one. It's wild. It's weird. I have a lot of little problems with it, a couple bigger problems, but then there's also a lot of stuff that I loved, and I do want to rewatch that at some point as well, and I would recommend it to like
Absolutely.
people who listen to our
Everyone on the
podcast,
podcast,
anyone who listens to our podcast.
I think you
you're
should
probably
love- I
enough
think
in the
you'd love
geek
this
nerd
movie,
world
yeah.
enough to be interested to go see this movie. So, yeah, it was a fun movie, and I mean, you reveal a lot about the book, so I'm not sure if I will go read it because I got a lot of the Spark Notes.
I'll just call it Spark Notes.
But
you
you know what?
subscription
You know what I'll
fee?
do in a year when I've forgot a lot of those details that you just shared. I'll read the book then
On the plane to India.
on the plane to India.
Whew.
Exactly.
So what tier are you putting this in, or are you not even giving that?
I don't know. I probably won't do it. I'll probably do something better.
Ooh.
I got to keep evolving my reviewing game.
Yeah. Otherwise, people will get onto your patterns and then they'll decipher it.
You gotta do parsecs next, apparently.
Parsecs. Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
mind fart. I don't think I meant to say that.
Do you have any other final words there, Jessica?
Yeah, I think, it's not like just a good tier, but it's not God tier. But, it's like, you should watch this tier. Like, it's good.
You should watch this tier.
Yeah, exactly. That's where it sits.
You should watch this tier.
So, I will probably re-see it. Cheap Tuesday or...
Cheap Tuesday.
Yeah,
A
get
little
that
2D action.
cheap popcorn. Student discount, maybe? Student
Nice.
tickets.
Ooh,
That's
yeah.
nice.
Yeah, gotta
That's
take
stable.
advantage of that for a little bit longer.
That's true.
Yeah, lots of great references, especially like I said, if you guys haven't read the book, it's, you can get the enjoyment out of it without kind of comparing it. If not, read the book. The book's pretty good. You
Yeah.
probably don't want to anymore. You've heard me talk about it already. Yeah.
Yeah, the topic of the references, I felt like this, like there could be moments where you have references and it's like, oh, okay, like I could count them all, but like this one's just so jam packed that it's just oozing
Yes.
out the sides,
Oozing.
like it's just
Tender
it's so
oozing
filled
blossom.
up that the lid can't fit on there. It's oozing out the sides. It looks like it's gonna break.
Just,
Because there's no way to count them all in one watch.
No.
Absolutely not.
I
you
mean-
guys are talking about things I didn't even see, so
Yeah.
I'm sure
We didn't even
there's
see the same movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. I think that's pretty much all we had to say.
That's all.
All right. You know where to find us.
You know where to find us.
Geek First Cast is our Twitter. Everywhere else is Geek First Podcast. That's Facebook. A little bit of SoundCloud action. Maybe some Stitcher Radio. I always forget many.
iTunes.
Did I say YouTube? iTunes. iTunes is a good one.
And our website,
course,
Our
tfirstpodcast.com.
That has absolutely everything and more. So that's a good place to
Hopefully
go.
Taylor has updated it recently.
Hop on the
I think he
Patreon.
hops
wait,
in
not.
there once every
I
couple
think
years.
my picture was November 2015.
Yeah.
So it's
But if you sent him a new picture, I bet he'd put it on there. Within the next 2 months or so.
the next 2 months or so. So by November 2018,
Exactly. You can also, fly over to our Patreon if you want. A lot of Marvel stuff up there. We've done a lot of recording for that recently.
Only $1.
$1 make it holler. You get access to all sorts of Geekers Gauntlet stuff.
Whoa.
Yeah, like I said, Marvel
That's
Retro.
that's our new T-shirt right there. $1 make it
But
holler.
I stole that. Right? I didn't make that up.
Oh, okay.
You never heard that before?
Where do you take that from?
That's like
I feel like that's like
middle school.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's like
I
one
didn't
of the
watch
most
middle
common
school.
sayings of all
I
time.
didn't watch middle school. What?
Patreon, $1 gives you all of Marvel Retros, bunch of Spider-Man
And
Retros.
you get to ask us questions.
You get to ask us questions, yeah, so definitely check that out if you're interested.
You can ask me about my opinion when I see it again.
True. If you really want us to do another review of this movie, hop on Patreon.
Hop on Patreon.
Maybe we'll do that.
Ask us, and maybe
The
we'll say
second viewing. It'll just be you two after you've seen it again, just naming off all the references that you saw this time around.
I really actually would love to redo this with Taylor and Travis because I think that would.
I want to hear their opinions.
Yeah, it would
Taylor would love it.
Taylor would love it, and Travis would shit on Taylor's
It
opinion.
had the Spartans from Halo. It had a dinosaur and it had Chucky. So this is literally Taylor's favorite movie of all time.
Yeah, that T-Rex.
And it had Godzilla. So
that T-Rex would have just made Taylor.
Yeah. Would have made him who?
Would have made him hooting, hollering.
Taylor,
doesn't even need the dollar. He just would have hollered.
No dollar. All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. Have a pleasant day. Have a greater tomorrow.
Until next time, promise it won't be boring.
Yeah. You like to steal Travis's when he's not around, hey?
I try and steal it when he is
You
around.
do try to steal it when he's around. Our new outro that we used on Marvel Retro is Cut the Check. Cut the check, Feige.
Cut the check? Or
Cut the check.
Cut the chick?
Cut the check.
I thought that was like a horror movie. Cut the chick up.
And why is that the new outro?
It's some... what is it again? It's like a... So it's like a quote from one of the movies, but it's not actually in the movie. It's like in a...
from
bonus scene.
Yeah.
Or it's like on the back. I think
is
it's
it Falcon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't actually...
I saw the meme, but whoever threw it up on the...
Yeah, I don't think it's like
chat.
from the movie, but...
Cut the check.
It's like a bonus, like a special feature. Anyway, have a good one. We'll see you next week. Next week we'll be doing a review of A Quiet Place. I think that's what we're doing next week. I'll probably go see the movie. So, review
It's gonna
that.
be quiet in there. So no one's gonna go see it.
I probably won't.
Bye-bye.
I definitely won't.
Okay, bye.